So the CETL asked me to share about teaching that I do in Sampoerna University. Now, before I start the presentation, I want to make a disclaimer. First, I'm here not to teach you all how to teach, because I believe that we are all great lecturers. And the second thing is, what I'm going to share does not mean the best practice, because each of us has our own unique style, and I believe there is no such practice that fits all situations. So this presentation is simply about the sharing about my experience, nothing else, about my teaching philosophy statement and what I do in the class. Okay, so for the next slide. Now I will start the presentation by showing all the student achievements that happened in the last year, academic year. So why I start with this student achievements? The reason is because when we teach the students, at the end of the day, there must be some output, and the output must be able to measure. One of the ways to measure the output is, for me, is by looking at the achievement, whether they have a national achievement, local achievement, or maybe international achievements. And the second thing, the reason I start with the student achievement is, students need platform to make them shine. Because teaching is about to make the students shining, not to make us shine, not to make us better, but to make the students famous. That's, for me, the purpose of teaching. So, if you see one of the ways I promote the students, if you see my social media, I link it on Instagram. I believe that some of you are my friends on Instagram. Most of my posting in my social media is under me. It's about students. It's about what they do. It's about what they achieve. It's about what they like. Everything is about them. I'm not telling you again that's what you should do. It's just about what I do. Now, by providing them a platform to shine, I noticed that it builds some confidence in them. Now, here are the examples that I want to show you. Okay, first one is 3 students, and I only present the student achievement that under my direct supervision. I'm not going to present the students supervised by others. I'm not going to take credit from them. What is good from this achievement is they are the first accounting student after 7 or 8 years, I believe, that won the national accounting competition. Yes, some accounting students won other competition, but it's not accounting. It's not about technical accounting. It's about essay. It's about something else. But they are the first one after 7 or 8 years that won the accounting competition, and they won it twice last year. That's the third one. Second one is, this last academic year is the first time that the accounting study program sent 3 students as ISMA awardee. We didn't send a student the previous year. So they are Maureen Rasha, Dialfa, Abdurrahman, and the last one is Shabib Gabriel. Last one is Victoria Deogracia Mata Ilmual. He joins the Pertukaran Mahasiswa Merdeka. She went to University of Hasanuddin Makassar. Now some people say that's a great achievement. Yes, but all those achievements start with this one. My teaching philosophy statement. My teaching philosophy statement is basically educating students to be sincere. I choose the word sincere because here's the reason. We live in the world where we read a lot of news. They are positive, most of them negative. Murder, what else? Pressure, stress, race, fraud, corruption. Every situation, every news that we read most of the time tend to make us depressed. Second thing, I believe that students have this preconception when they meet us. They may have some trust issue, they may have problem whenever they are, I don't know. They must have some background. And they need somebody who they can trust. They need somebody who they can rely on. They need somebody who they can talk with. So the first step that I took whenever I teach the student is not to introduce them to accounting, because that will be disaster, is to know them, to get their trust, to get their confidence, to get their belief. So whenever or whatever that I say later on, once I get their trust, they will believe that all the things that I say is for their best interest, not for my best interest. It's actually for them. Now, educating with a sincere heart basically for me has four meanings. The first two parts is about getting their belief, which is meaningful relationship with the students. And the second one is to establish individual attentions and support. Now, to establish a connection with students, I often do it in an informal way. What does it mean? It means that I almost never do it in the office circumstances. Because I find out that whenever I talk to students in my office, they have some defense mechanism. They listen to us, they talk to us, but they don't open to us. They listen to us, but then after they leave the room, they leave the office, they have still their own opinion. They tend to be intense when I talk in my office. So what I do, lunch. Food is the best solution to open your students, my students especially. Yeah. Right. Lunch. Tracking. I can show you some of the ways. Let me see.
Can I be your student?
No. Okay. So here are just the example. I'm not going to play the video. You can play it later. So for example, we have lunch. Can you see what I need to love you? Okay. For example, we have lunch at Pulungan City, and then we went to ice cream, and then we ate strawberry. And then in some other circumstances, I go with them to floating market in Bandung, having fun. No counting for days, or that's all it is. And then in other events, we had dinner at Grand Indonesia. Don't look at the Grand Indonesia, it's still just something. And last one is trekking. We went to Bogor, we went to Sentul for some outdoor activities. Now, it's not about the traveling, it's not about the lunch, it's not about the dinner, it's about to get more information from them, to get their belief. That's the purpose I did all these things. So once the boundaries, once the wall between us is no longer there, then stop talking. Even I don't ask them, they just start talking about their life, their problem, financial difficulties, boyfriend, which I really do not want to hear it, and they talk about others. They talk a lot. So once they talk a lot, I realized, okay, now the relationship, the connection is established. Now, how to make the connection? How to make the conversation? Here's the thing. I start asking them about their hobbies, their interests. So if they say they listen to K-pop, I start listening to K-pop, even though I don't like it. I start to listen with some weird songs. So anyway, some of them like talking about cars. Now I need to read something about cars just to start the conversation about what they like. Because people always like to talk about the hobbies, their interests. Now, and then once that connection established, let me put it back to the slide. now I can do some education management which is individualized the attention. Now I know what they need. Now I know what they really want. I know what kind of study style, what kind of learning they want to. I'm not saying that I know everything about the students, but at least what I can say is I try to understand them. Even though I admit that in many occasions I fail, but it doesn't matter as long as I try. Some students that I notice are very extrovert, or this kind of students is very easy to coach because they express themselves too much. Some of the students, they are so introvert, it's just like we peel onion, one layer at a time. And it takes much effort, but once they get close, once they are noticed that their needs are fulfilled, it's just start talking. They just keep talking and they just keep sharing everything. And that's a good thing. Now, at these two phases is basically me getting active to them. I'm the one who gets more active. So at this phase, usually I don't teach accounting. I avoid talking anything about accounting because I believe that it is stressful. But after they realize that, okay, they get attention, they get the support, now I do the third and the fourth phase, which I withdraw them from their comfort zone. Either they realize it or they don't realize it. But slowly but sure, I withdraw them. I don't want them to be in their position right now, whatever position they have. I want them to, I push them. I say to them, you cannot be in the position, but that can be only done once they get our attention, once they believe in us. If they don't believe in us, they just say, I'm what is this? Dosen otorita. They have to believe in me first. They have to. If not, that will be, they will do it half-hearted, they will not do it sincerely. So think critically. Why critically? Here's the thing. When I learned accounting many years ago, the book is just this thing. Very not really thick. But look at accounting right now. I am even surprised if anybody can finish that book. So thick. And I believe that once they graduate, what I teach can be irrelevant for them. Why is that? Let's get an example about tax. The tax regulation, we notice that it changes not every year, quarterly. So if I teach a regulation right now, next semester it's not relevant at all. So what do they really need? They need to think critically. They need to understand, as long as it is a human knowledge, a knowledge by human, don't take things for granted. Challenge it, question it, ask it, why, how, what, when, where. Because once they work, they cannot memorize transaction. No, they cannot do that. They have to understand the nature of the business. They have to understand what happens surrounding them. Because in accounting, basically, the debit and credit is only the smallest thing in accounting. They need to understand what happens surrounding them. They need to question everything. So there is no such answer as because it has been done for years, because my CEO says that, because the senior says that. No, there is no answer. Don't take that answer as well. Ask, why is that? Is that the best way? And also for their study. They say, I have studied hard. Okay. Is it the correct way? Is there anything that you can improve? Sometimes, when the students tell stories to me, they don't need advice. Not sometimes, most of the time. They just need me to listen. And then they suddenly say, okay, I think I do wrong. Oh, okay, good. So I don't have to give any advice. But they just need somebody to listen. Now, when I push the students by thinking critically and logically, is guys, okay, for this section I need to speak in Bahasa because my vocabulary in that example is very few. It's about main layang-layang. Saya nggak bilang bahwa mahasiswa itu layang. Kalau kita main layang, if we play kites, kita selalu pasti akan tarik ya, supaya dia terbang tinggi. Tapi nggak selamanya kita tarik. In some occasion kita harus lepas dia, harus ulur kembali. Tapi ketika kita ulur, jangan dilepas. Same with the student. I push them hard, but I must know the limit of the students. When is the limit? I cannot break the limit. Once the limit is broken, they will depressed. But in order to know the limit, yeah, it takes time, it takes experience, it takes some effort to do. So, in one example, I give a really hard question. They have to solve it. Even the questions that I know, I know that question is very difficult, but I give that. But when I give the questions, one thing for sure that I don't let them by themselves. Because the purpose of the education for me is to challenge them and at the same time to guide them. So I keep supporting them, I keep guiding them. This is how you solve the problem. But I'm not going to give them the answer. They have to find the answer by themselves, even though some of the students struggling really hard. But it's okay, because at the end, when they graduate, no one will help them. They are by themselves. If they get good mentor at their office, that will be great. If not, they must have good mentality to stay, to keep strong during the pressures. So yes, that I do. To discipline them. So I don't really mind. So I'm not really worried when I get angry to students. They are the example. They make me several times angry. But when I'm angry to the students, I'm not exaggerating things. So when it's done, and then I just ask them to lunch. Okay. It's always like that. So I can go with students, laugh with them, at the same time I can make them see at the same time, yes, I can do that. So they know that they talk to somebody, to a person that really do the best for them. Now the fourth thing is realistic objectives. Now it will be related with competition. Now the good things, not really the good things actually. The thing about accounting student program that they have a very few students. Now, here's the thing. I say to the student, if you are the best student in accounting, that really doesn't mean anything because you are only the best out of 6, or 5, or 4. No, that doesn't mean anything. You have to be the best nationally. You have to compete with other students outside this Sampoerna University. You cannot say I'm the best student in accounting and then you are really proud of it. Okay, that's a good achievement, I appreciate it, but that's not sufficient. Because once you graduate, you will apply, they will apply for a job, and their competitors is not their fellow accounting students. Their competitors are other accounting students from other universities, University of Indonesia, overseas university, and they must know their position while they are studying. It doesn't matter whether they get 20 out of 40 students when they compete, but the thing that we need to see is the progress. The new thing that I see is the progress. So if they fail during one competition, it's just fine. Here's the story. Now, accounting students are really improper students, except for the girls. I don't know why. But for the boys, man, they are just so shy. So most of the male students in accounting, they are reluctant to go to compete. Well, how do I force them? One of the way, I get the idea from the University of Arizona, thanks to them. You know that when I teach internet accounting for business, they have what we call extra credit assignment. Extra credit assignment. So that assignment is basically just to improve their score. Now, I modify the assignment. The assignment that I gave is not the thing related to the course. I said to them, if you want to get the extra credit assignment, join the competition. You go to final, 5%. You get to semi-final, 4%. You get to preliminary round, 2%, something like that. So, quote unquote, yes, I forced them at the first place. If not, they will not be forced. It doesn't matter what competition they join in the beginning. It doesn't matter if it has to be individual or it doesn't matter if it has to be group. They can just make a group, one class as a group, and they can just join the competition together. It doesn't really matter, because what I want to see is basically once they feel the happiness of winning, they will start joining the competition by themselves. Once they feel the joy of defeating other competitors, they are the one who send me flyers. Sir, I want to join this one. Sir, I join to join this one. Until up to this point, I have an alumni that keeps sending me competition flyers to distribute to students. So if I look at my WhatsApp right now, it's just full of competition flyers. So I just keep doing the same thing. And yeah, some students, they can perform, some students can't, but it doesn't matter, they fail. We are looking for the progress. So here's the idea. They have to perform not only in the Sampoerna University level, but they have to perform in national level. Fortunately, if it will be great if they can perform in international level. Now, what about the teaching method? Thank you, Bu Uci, for explaining active learning later on, so you save my time. So I'm not going to explain that one. I'm going to explain about problem solving. So in accounting, we have what we call a term, don't memorize things. No. The only way they can understand the material is by practicing. They have to do it by themselves and start from the beginning. So problem solving is the most method that I often do in the class. More practice, assignment, exercise, plenty of them. They have to do it either in group or by individual. That's the only way. Because here's the thing, I never give an exam question similar to exercise or assignment. Never. So it has to be combination. So for example, if in the exercise I give 2 questions, in the exam I combine those 2 questions into 1 question to see whether they understand about the concept in that topic. Because if I just gave them the same thing, they just look at the notes, because in the exam they are allowed to prepare to have a notes, and some exam is open book. So they have to understand the nature. They have to understand how to do it again, what, when, where, how, and why. They have to understand about those things. If not, they can read. So that's the problem solving that I do. And once they understand, they can think critically, they can think logically, they have a lot of practice. To ask them to join competitions is not a difficult task. They will have the confidence. They will be the one who asks us to join the competition. So that is why in so many academic years, I keep sending the students compete. Yeah, regardless of the result. Because yes, they must have that kind of mentality. Now, before I end my presentation, good, 9:20. I will end this one with the student testimonies, which I'm not going to explain by myself, because I believe that the hard work of my work should not be explained by me actually, but by the person that I teach. So I will give the stage to Cindy and Pauline to provide some, for your record, I don't brief them about what they are going to do. So, okay, go ahead. The biggest challenge. Okay. the biggest challenge for me in teaching is basically to know the students, to get the attention of the students. That's the biggest challenge. Because when I educate the students, the first thing that I want to make sure is to have the connection. Once they have the mental block with us, whatever we say, they just reject it. That's an automatic things they do. Once they have the mental block. So I always try to avoid those kind of things. I'm not saying it's successful all the time, because I have to make it balance with the discipline, with the fairness. I mean, I cannot just provide all focus to one student, give them all the privilege. It will be unfair to other students. But to make the students understand, that's the challenge.
But sorry, how did you overcome that? Sorry, I'm so short, but I'm so curious. I mean, it is a problem for me. It's not easy to have this relationship. So I want to hear it. So how did you overcome that?
Food. Oh, outside the campus, not in the campus. If it's campus, again, they have those kind of defense mechanisms.
The newspapers sometimes, always.
Most of the time. So, outside the campus. Private. Yeah, first of all, I must know the problem, what kind of psychological problems the student has. Is it really about mental issues, or is it just because of personality issues? And the second thing, we have a counselor in the campus. If I believe it's beyond my capacity to talk about mental issues, I will suggest the students to go there. And the second thing, I often inform the usually Pak Penanda, that at the dean, that this student has some mentality issues. So please provide some medical letter. So I will have the basis to give them more time during exam assignments and so on. Because otherwise, the other student will complain. Why the students get special treatment? So that letter is my legal basis, my foundation to be.
So you can give a little bit extra time or extra support for this special case?
Yes. Any other question? No? Okay, Feby and Pauline, you can talk whatever you want to talk, but remember your grade is in my hand.
Wow, that is really pressure, no? Wow. Even I cannot do that, right?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Pauline, and this is my friend.
Sebi.
Today we'll share a little thoughts about learning directly under Sir Andrey. So first of all, I'm going to share my own general opinion about him. At first, going to SU, he does seem daunted. He seems like a serious person, rigid from other seniors, and not being able to learn directly from him. Because in our first semester, the one person who taught us accounting is not Sir Andrey directly. So we are supervised, but not directly. We haven't formed a relationship yet. But going to the second semester with accounting being more difficult for us, it's getting to be more challenging. It's not high school anymore. He starts to make a genuine relationship, which not often seen with most lecturers. Our relationship goes beyond the classroom. We will go to him, and he's such a problem solver for us accounting kids. We tend to be taught to overshare rather than not share anything. because that way we're able to directly solve the problem in its roots before it grows even more. Aside to that, I really do fond of him being not sugarcoating anything. So we know the reality, the challenges, and how we need to overcome it directly. That's the general opinion of me. Second of all is about his teaching methods, which I think that is very helpful as a person. Going to class, we usually start with theory, which is very basic. He often encouraged us to pre-read the slides, which at first it seems like a heavy thing, because we do have other classes, other courses, and pre-read 30 slides of accounting seems very tiring. No one looked forward to it. But knowing in class how he will tend to shoot a question to us, and it's not merely a question, there's certain difficulties, and those are actually very appreciated. We get extra points for certain quizzes and even exams for those really hard questions that he haven't even taught us. Those became a driving force for us students, especially. People will tend to fight with each other, who will make accounts and be like, oh, I'm the one who will answer. Oftentimes we get the answers wrong more than we get it right, but it becomes a motivation for us to actually take the time to learn outside class individually. We could easily go to him to his office, set a schedule anytime during when we have troubles. Assignments and exercise are always given, as well as illustration. Usually it'll be the easier ones, the one provided from the book. So it's easy for us to grasp the basic concept of how the question is being structured and how we solve it. But his quiz are notoriously known as being hard. So Andrey never takes question from the books, and if we spot a name of his dog in a question, we know will be the hard one. But it taught us that learning is not as simply as putting a formula. Learning is about how we join the concept, how we need to solve real world problems. We also like how he often be humorous at times. In the break of the quiz, our quiz are tend to be very long, 3 hours even, since it's very difficult for us. It's on our part sometimes, because we tend to overthink it. But in those moments where you think like you want to break into tears in the quiz room and exams, he will often break a joke in the middle of it, saying that at the end of the day, just submit it. You know, it's the greatest in his hand. So we understand that sometimes it's not that deep. We could get a bad score and carry on and do better next time, which is very appreciative for students since exam season could be very stressful. And he showed it in a different light, how learning actually making mistakes, and how by making mistakes we actually learn more rather than being right all the time. So that's from me.
Right, so I'm going to talk about the experiences of students in general and outside his classroom. So if you could actually visit the booth later and read the poster about and especially in the section about the classroom, I wrote that. Every word of that poster is actually truthful, because essentially Sir Andrew basically talked about how in the accounting program there are a lot of boys who are extroverted. I'm the exception, and I like to talk to a lot of the people, even outside of the general accounting course, and talk to the business students. He's also taught especially, and one of the things that a lot of us can agree is that Sir Andrey has a very unique teaching style in the sense that he can actually get you to understand the deep roots of the questions, about the concepts, and especially how to solve it properly. One of the things, especially in my opinion, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Sir Andrey, is because a lot of the time, even in high school, even all the way back in preschool, we have always been taught to just memorize. One of the biggest issues that I have is memorizations. I am very bad at memorizations. You can talk to almost all of my friends and they will always tell you that one of the biggest things I complain is that teachers always force students to memorize instead of getting us to actually understand. And with Sir Andrey, I think that I can actually, at first it's very difficult because a lot of students at first go ahead of me. In fact, in semesters 1 and in the first half of semester 2, all of my peers got better grades than me. I'm the only one who is in my friend groups that has a sub 4.0 score. But it doesn't matter to me because at the end, at the second half of the second semester, even at Sir Andrey's class, I'm the only one who actually properly understood the questions and actually got to manage to explain to my peers. And in recent quizzes, I was the one who got the highest grades or even within the top 3. Even in semester 1 or in the first half of semester 2, I was failing very miserably. But once I managed to actually understand the roots of what he wants, which is what happens usually at the tail end of this class, I usually get the shine. And that's actually a second part that I want to talk about, was that big thing that I like about Sir Andrey in and outside the class is that he tries to understand people's mentality. I will overshare a little bit. I have ADHD, which is a condition that can impact learning. And no matter how many times I try to express the difficulty of my situation, especially in my learning curve, I tend to find that Sir Andrey is one of the most understanding and most supportive of me, and he doesn't make it seem like my ailment is just an excuse for me to ask for extra help. And that's why I'm so appreciative of Sir Andrey that he responds to messages, calls, pleas for help, even well out of the teaching time. One of the things that I like about Sir Andrey is that because he gave his students his personal number, which I know that a lot of teachers are not comfortable with, but for me, I think, in my opinion, the fact that Sir Andrey has given us his personal number and then I can call him whenever I need help or I have a question, no matter how silly it is, or even asking, sir, do you want to hang out with the accounting kids or non-accounting kids? He will most of the time answer it, and I never feel uncomfortable doing so. And because, again, the relationship that Sir Andrey has built with his students is something very precious, and to me, I learn better with a better relationship with someone, in a sense that I can overshare a little bit, because not only is that my personality, but it's also like something about my ADHD is I tend to overshare, which is what I'm doing right now. But it never seems as though that I'm being judged for it, and that's what I appreciate about being Sir Andrey's, not just his student, but also someone who he supervises in my academic learning. But that gets me to my last point, which is some improvements. When it comes to the improvements, nothing really much, other than a lot of the non-accounting students are very jealous of us accounting students because of the attention that Sir Andrey gives, which I cannot blame Sir Andrey because we are his children. He's very overprotective of us, which is what I love. But a lot of the students, or especially like my friends from other courses in business, yeah, they tend to complain that Sir Andrey doesn't give them the same treatment. But I always just say that it's just because they're too introverted, which is most of the time true. So yeah, I think that's it. Like, oh, and don't make quizzes too hard, sir, please. Especially since we're gonna enter intermediate accounting, I am crying inside. So I think that's all from me and Pauline. Thank you all, and back to Sir Andrey.
So thank you everybody for listening. Now I give the